Hey guys, here we are today. It's been a while since I've done one of these repair videos, so I thought I might as well get one done on this. So for today's video, I got this in. It's actually my neighbor's. This is a Power Smart. I believe it's a 212cc overhead valve engine. Right now, Right now, have tried starting it. It will not start. I haven't dug into this thing at all. I'll just give you guys a little go over here and just show you guys what I'm going to do to get this thing running. So as you can see, the choke lever is set to the on position. I got my key stop plugged in. I'm just going to prime it here. Give it a bunch of pumps. I do have the fuel on. The fuel has been left on and the tank's full, so this could just be a fuel issue. It could be a spark issue, still not sure. I'm looking up in here and I can see that there's a lot of, like a lot of debris and stuff. A mouse could have made a nest inside of it for all I know. So right now I'm just going to roll it over, show you guys that it doesn't start. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the spark plug out off the camera. I'm going to set the spark plug up, roll it over. We're going to see together if it has spark. If it has spark, we'll put that back together, and we'll start working on the fuel system. Typically with these things, especially when people leave the fuel valve on and they don't run the carburetor out of gas, it generally turns into a carburetor rebuild. So that's what we're going to do on this one today. I also notice on this one here is all these shear pins here. They're all correct, except this one down here. This one down here has got like this weird rod going through it. I don't think it's gonna last throughout the winter. You can see it's already sloppy. It's eventually just gonna destroy the shaft. So we're gonna take that out. We're gonna replace that with what's right. Once I do get it going, I'm also going to oil up all this stuff, all these cables, because you can see they're pretty rusty. We got one cable that's back here that was actually routed the wrong way. You can see that they routed it around here, which is putting lots of stress on this cable. So we're actually going to take apart this handle right here, and we're going to flip it back around, so that way this wire right here, or cable, is actually in the right spot. Just to give a little bit more longevity to this. Like I say, this is my neighbor's. She's been really good to my family, and I just want to make sure that it's going to work good for this season. As you can see, we're getting our first snowfall out here, and yeah, sure it's going to start adding up. So yeah, so I'm going to take out that spark plug. I'll get you guys back on here. I don't have my tripod with me today, so it's going to be a little bit weird, but we're going to get through this. Okay, so here we are. I pulled the spark plug boot off. Strangely enough, there's not enough space. I got a 3/16 ratchet here with a spark plug socket on a 1/4 inch drive. I cannot get... Once I start threading this spark plug out, the issue is that the sidewall on this spark plug socket is actually rubbing on this valve cover right here, and I cannot turn it. So what I'm going to do, I do have it loose. I can't get my hand in here enough to actually get a grip on turning the spark plug out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off this top heat shield cover. It's very simple. It's just got a, I believe that they're 5/16 or 8 mil bolts. So I'm just going to pull out all these bolts here. Hopefully this cover is just going to come right off for me easily, and then that's going to give me a little bit more space to get in there, and also it's going to be good because I'll have a little bit more for you guys to be able to see, and so we can test for the spark. So I'm going to pull out all these bolts off camera here because I don't got my tripod. We'll get this cover off, and then we'll take a look at getting that spark plug out, and I'll show you guys how to test this for spark. Okay, so I got this cover off. It was just 6 8 mil or 5/16 bolts. Came off really nice and easy, so that's awesome. Sometimes they get all so rusty and it's really hard to get these things off. You end up snapping bolts and it turns into a disaster. So I got the spark plug out. As you can see, this just gave me so much more space to get my hand in here. I've pulled out the spark plug. I got this spark plug back in its boot. Now to test for spark, you're just basically going to want to ground out the spark plug. So basically what I'm doing here is I got the spark plug touching something that's ground or something that's metal on the machine. Typically you want to find yourself a good ground. So I found myself a pretty decent ground here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reach around. I'm going to hit the start button. This can be a little bit tricky if you don't have a start button on your snowblower, because you might have to hold on to the spark plug and roll it over at the same time. So here we are here. I'm just going to get a close-in view of this, and I'm going to roll it over here. I did see spark, but as you can see, it jumped right off of there. So we're just going to position this just a tad bit better. See if this will work a little bit better. Okay, ready? It'll probably move on me, but... You can see there's lots of spark there, tons. So right off the hop, we're going to say that this is back to our fuel issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the spark plug out just because I'm working on the machine. I'm going to probably start by pulling off this side cover now. In this side cover here, I'm going to have to pull out this key. Here, I'll do that while I'm on the camera. I'll pull this key out. I'll have to work it around this choke lever here a little bit. To pull off this side cover, it's just going to be these two 10mm bolts, one here, and then there's also one hiding on this side right here. I'm just going to move it enough to get it out of the way so I can take off the carburetor and clean the tank and drain all the fuel in it. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this off. Once I get this off, I'm going to give you guys a view of the carburetor, show you all the linkages and whatnot on it, and then we'll pull off the carburetor. We'll get you on the bench. I'll show you how to rebuild the carburetor while the tank is draining, self-draining by itself, essentially. Okay, so I got those two 10mm bolts off here. I slid this side cover out of the way. Probably one of the hardest side covers to get out of the way. There is a bit of a sequence to it because when they build these engines, they put the engine on and they don't take into account that there isn't enough space to pull this cover off because this bar is right in the way. So realistically, it takes a little bit of playing and maneuvering. I was able to get it out. What I actually had to do is I had to separate this right here. So there is like two little sleeves. And I had to get this separate, and as you can see, it's hard just doing it right there. But I got this separate from here, I slid this cover off, and then I slid this off after. So next thing I'm going to do is, I really recommend if you're going to do this at home, for me, I've done so many of them now that I know where everything goes. But I'd recommend taking pictures of where all this stuff goes. So just remember where your primer line goes. Remember where this rod goes and exactly how it all attaches. Remember the sequence of your gaskets and remember which way they go because it does matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this carburetor out. I'm really hoping that there's enough space in between here and here to get the carburetor out. If not, what I'll have to do is I'll have to put a couple bolts on these studs and I'll have to pull the studs right out, which is going to be a pain, but we'll have to do it that way. And then I'm going to get the carburetor off. I'm going to on-clamp our fuel line right here. I'm just going to let this drain into a bottle, get rid of all the old fuel that's in it. I'm going to put this carburetor on the bench. I'm going to take it all apart. I'm going to rebuild the entire thing. And then we're going to basically reverse all of our steps, put it back together, and we're going to see if it starts. I'm going to pull it off. I'll get you guys set up on the bench. I'll pull it off. You guys don't need to see me doing all the boring stuff here, unhooking stuff. But just keep in mind, take lots of pictures, just so you remember how everything goes back together. So also, please comment, like, subscribe. You know, we're at 50 subscribers now. We started this channel about a year ago. I think that's, personally for me, I think that's really awesome being at 50 subscribers. You guys seem like you like these repair videos, so, you know, subscribe, like, comment, share these things for us. Every little bit helps. Yeah, so I'll get you guys all set up at the bench, and we'll go from there. You can see here, I just got the fuel line pulled off of here. And I just got it draining into a simple bottle. Fuel flow actually seems very good in there. I know it's hard to see, but fuel flow seems good. Gasoline's got a little bit of a yellow tinge to it, but doesn't look bad. Don't see any water in the tank. say you were to pull this fuel line off and it's not draining for whatever reason, you could actually have a problem inside of here, and maybe your petcock valve is sticking and it's not opening when it should be open. So that's a whole nother game plan. Luckily, we don't have to do that here today. Upon further inspection, also looking in through these crevices, I do not see a mouse nest in here. But we are going to still pull off the side cover just to double check. And hopefully there's nothing in there. But generally, if there is like a mouse nest inside and they've created damage, the only thing they can really create damage to is obviously your wires. And if they did create damage to your wires, then you likely wouldn't have sparks. So I'm going to say there probably isn't a mouse nest in there. But it's always good to double check, because if they have made a mouse nest in there and they've packed it full of grass and stuff like that, your engine could, I guess, overheat. And we don't want that. So we're going to pull it off anyways. Well, I called it. Just isn't enough space to get that off. So unfortunately, a little bit more work, but we're going to have to free up these studs, pull the studs right out, and then we'll be able to release that carburetor. Okay, so after about half an hour of messing around with this darn thing, I finally got off the carburetor. I got it right here on the bench. Just going to tip it upside down, let all this old fuel run out. There is a lot of garbage and stuff coming out of it. I can't remember if I've ever rebuilt this carburetor before. I don't think I did. So what I'm doing right here is I'm just cracking the bowl off here. So it's just a 10 mil bolt on the bottom. Oh, is it ever stuck? Okay, let's see here. Sorry about the angle, guys. It's kind of, oh, holy. Should not be on that tight, ever. Anyways, we cracked it off. It's just this bolt down here. You can always leave this one right here, so you don't have to replace seals. So I'm just going to pull that out. Right off the hop, I can see all kinds of, you can see there, this is probably going to be yucky. Tap this off. Ooh, it's not too bad. You can see inside the bowl here, there's a lot of green, and it's almost, the gas is almost turning to a gel. So I'm going to suspect that this is definitely our problem. This bowl doesn't look too bad, actually. But I have a feeling what the issue is going to be is the jets are clogged. So I'm just going to pull apart the whole thing. Yeah, see the seat, see this right here? That should just slide out really nice. So that needle is stuck in there. Oh, we're getting there. We're wiggling it. Yeah, see? Oh, yeah, that's bad. So you can see right there. See how corroded and dirty that is? So that's probably why it's not starting, is because it's not getting fuel, for one. Because that was just stuck closed. So there's also a jet that a lot of people don't know about just down here in this throat. It does take a special screwdriver to get it out. A lot of screwdrivers, they'll have almost like an extra, like they almost have like ears on the side. Where this one here, I've actually took it and I've grounded it down. Just so that way it's more, I don't know how to explain it, but it's more straight. So that way it can fit down the throat of this carburetor. So very carefully, it is a brass screw, so they do get damaged and sometimes they don't always come out. This one looks like it's in pretty rough shape, but I'm going to put some oil in there. Just some WD-40. They do not sponsor me, by the way, but I tell you, this thing's great for everything. Cleaning, like plastic, anything. You put WD-40 on everything, it cleans it right up and it just shines things up, and oh, I love it. So WD-40 is the way to go. There's no weird smell to it or anything. It's probably better to breathe in than carb spray. I do use carb spray for cleaning though. Recommend you wear a mask while you're using it. I'm sure it can't be too healthy for you. So this is just a standard head screwdriver with the walls grounded down. I'm going to come in here, make sure I got a good solid grip on it. Make sure it's in there nice and neatly. And it's turning. Okay, so we got this one. Sometimes what will happen is it's in there so tight that the brass is so soft that you'll go to turn it and it'll just chew up the edges, and you never end up getting them out, and then you're into replacing the carburetor and a whole nother headache. So I'll show you what it looks like here when it comes out. So remember which way this does go in, this jet. So this is your main jet. It's got a bunch of holes down the side of it. You can see that they're pretty clogged up. Might be hard to see, but they are clogged. And then this would be the screw that you're turning to access that jet. Now, also a lot of things that people don't know about these carburetors is this right here is your idle speed control. Take this all the way out, semi-remember where it's at. I mean, you could set that stuff up once you do get your snowblower running. It's not that big of a deal. But a lot of things that people forget about on these is this little tiny jet that's right here, underneath that screw. Hopefully you guys can see that. But to get that out, it's literally, you just pop it out with a screwdriver. It's just a piece of plastic. They can be tough to get out. Like I say, I'm sorry about my angle, guys, but I'm sure you guys get the gist of this. So you're just going to pop that out. And on this one as well, there's going to be a hole in the bottom. Then there's a hole going through. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but there is a hole going through here, the sidewall. There's a hole going through. See that? Then there's also a hole that goes to those two holes in the bottom. Typically what I use is I just take like a bread tie and clean all this stuff out. I'll spray it down with carb spray. I'll just take a bread tie like this. They seem to work best. I'll clear off the coating, and what I do is I just shoot some carb spray through all these crevices on the carburetor, clean it up the best I can. Sometimes I'll take a Q-tip to this needle and seat, which I will on this one, because it was really sticky. I'll clean up all this stuff, make it as clean, as neat and tidy as you can. Take this bread tie and go through all your holes. So as you can see right here, again, it's going to be hard to see, but what I do is I take the bread tie and I put it through the hole, like so. And then that way you can clean out every single hole. You're going to want to make sure that when you're done, this is really neat and clean. Otherwise, that's generally most of the problem is these jets, is they get clogged up and just from fuel sitting and whatnot. So, you know, I'm going to do this off camera. I'm going to get this all done. Put it back together the exact same way you did it. If you think that you might forget, because there is a lot of little pieces, just record yourself doing it. That way you can remember, and it's easy to put back together. So I'm going to assemble all this. I'm going to put it all back together. I'm going to mount the carburetor onto the machine, and then I'm going to sorry guys, my camera cut out there. So yeah, back to this update on getting the carburetor off. Biggest pain in the butt I've ever had to deal with in my life. I never want to work on one of these things again. So if you're at the store, probably don't buy one of these kind. Make sure there's a lot of space in between here and here, or send it to the mechanic and give him the headache. So I was not able to get out this stud. I didn't try heating it or anything, but I didn't want to damage any of this stuff either behind it. So I got out this stud on this side. Once I was able to get out this stud, what I did was I kind of flipped the carburetor up and over, upside down, and I was able to just kind of pull it off of this side. So a little bit of a pain in the butt. Maneuver it around. You can get it off just by taking out one stud. I'm sure it would have been easier to take off if I could have got out this stud rather than that stud, but chances of things, you know, of course the one that you want out doesn't come out. The one that doesn't come out, you know, is always the easiest option. So anyways, I'm going to clean this carburetor. I'm going to get it all assembled, put everything back together the way it was, and then we're going to try to start it. Okay, so I got everything all back together. It actually surprisingly went together a lot easier than, you know, of course, taking it apart. I don't know. This was a task. Like, normally it's pretty quick to get the carburetor off and all that. But I mean, it is what it is. So it's all back together. I got my key in already. I'm going to choke the machine because it is cold out here. Going to give it, well, I don't know. What does it call for? Doesn't say on this one. Generally it calls for 3 or 4 pumps. So I'm going to give it 2, 3, 4. Let's give it 5 pumps. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit the start button and we'll see what happens. Choke it again. It's still pretty cold. So there you have it, guys. I really hope this video helps somebody out there that's having problems with their snowblower. Maybe you just don't have enough money to bring it to some guy and have it fixed, or you know, maybe you're just a DIYer and you want to see if you can get it running on your own, or perhaps you want to get into buying and selling these. And I just really hope this video helps out. If you guys do like this video, put a like down, comment, subscribe. You know, just do what you guys can to help out our channel. We really appreciate all the support. Eventually, you know, we want to be able to upgrade our camera equipment and stuff like that, so we can get more in depth and do better videos here for you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone, and good luck on your next DIY. Thanks a lot.